please?
For which movie?
Rachel Zegler melts down after Snow White flops and gets pulled from theaters, and her reaction will leave you stunned.
I think it's fair to say that no one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
This was supposed to be Disney's magical comeback, but instead, it's a full-blown disaster. The live-action Snow White was hyped up for months, but now it's flopping so hard that fans are walking out. Theaters are pulling it early, and Rachel Zegler, she's not taking it well. From the moment this remake was announced, it stirred up a storm, mainly because of Rachel's viral interviews where she slammed the original fairy tale and said her Snow White wouldn't need a prince. Bold move, but it seriously backfired. The internet turned on her, memes exploded, and now that the movie's tanking, people are calling it karma.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
So how did one actress, one remake, and a few spicy interviews turn into Disney's most embarrassing flop in years? And what's really going on behind Rachel's meltdown? Let's find out.
And Rachel Zegler, being 23 or whatever she is, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infantada is the only global solution. So the two stars hate each other.
Have you ever watched a movie fail so badly that even the main actress ended up in a quiet, empty theater trying to process it all? That's exactly what happened to Rachel Zegler. She didn't just star in Disney's new take on Snow White. She unintentionally became the face of one of Hollywood's most painful box office disasters in recent memory. It wasn't just a movie flop. It was a full-blown career meltdown that played out in real time on social media, in press tours, and in awkward online videos that will likely haunt her for years.
You'd think the most progressive thing would be get people jobs, and dwarves want to work.
It's like an honest golden employment opportunity for dwarves.
Things got off to a rough start when Snow White hit theaters. Instead of the usual red carpet buzz and packed screenings that come with a major Disney release, what we saw was Rachel posting a video of herself buying movie tickets and walking into what looked like an abandoned theater. Some fans tried to spin it, claiming she and her friends had rented out the whole place for a private showing. But let's be honest, you can tell the difference between a special screening and a completely empty cinema. There were barely any people there, and the atmosphere felt more like a sad school project than a multi-million-dollar film debut. The worst part, Rachel posted it herself, turning what was supposed to be a triumphant moment into a viral meme. People joked that it felt like she was live streaming the end of her career in HD.
But imagine you spend $250 million and you get some young girl and you don't kind of talk to her about like, hey, don't get political. You're young. And I know you have opinions about things, but should be just about the movie.
And things didn't get any better after the first weekend. Snow White had reportedly cost Disney around $370 million when you include production and marketing, which is already a massive number. But it opened with a painfully low $43 million. That's less than a lot of mid-budget comedies, and it didn't stop there. The following weekend, the box office numbers dropped even harder, with sales crashing by over 60%. The film made just $14 million in its second weekend, which is devastating for a project this big. It even got beat by a random action flick, A Hard-Working Man, which was playing in fewer theaters and didn't have the power of Disney's name behind it. To make things worse, even a faith-based film called The Chosen, Last Supper came close to overtaking it, and it had way fewer screens.
And then they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
The numbers just kept getting more painful. As of the end of March 2025, The movie had only made around $143 million worldwide. That's way below what it needed just to break even, and experts say Disney might lose over $100 million on this single movie. But beyond the money, the reviews were even more brutal. At one point, the IMDb score dropped to 1.5 out of 10. That's not just disappointing, that's maybe we shouldn't have made this movie at all bad. Keep in mind, this is the same studio that turned the Lion King remake into a billion-dollar success. But this time, theaters were basically empty, and fans were sharing screenshots of seat maps that looked more like swimming pools, just rows and rows of blue, untouched seats.
Someone who looks like them, someone who represents a dreamer, no matter what they look like or where they come from. The true meaning of fair is the kindness within, and that's the point of our film.
All this would have been tough for any actor to deal with. But for Rachel, it was worse because so much of the drama was self-inflicted. Before the movie even came out, she gave interviews where she criticized the original 1937 Snow White as outdated and weird. She mocked the prince character as creepy and said the story needed to be fixed. That rubbed longtime Disney fans the wrong way. A lot of people grew up with the original film and didn't appreciate it being dismissed like a dusty old toy. Then, she made things worse by mixing in political comments, telling whole groups of people that she didn't want them watching the film. That's never a great move when you're promoting a family-friendly movie meant for everyone. Whether she meant it or not, it came off as arrogant, and it only made the backlash stronger. On top of all that, there were rumors of tension with her co-star Gal Gadot. Things got messy when Rachel made what seemed like shady remarks about Gal, calling her a pageant queen and leaving her out of a cast appreciation post on Instagram. That one little omission sparked a storm of speculation and drama. It got so intense that Disney reportedly had to increase Gal's security because of online threats following some of Rachel's posts. At that point, it wasn't just about the movie, it was about Rachel herself, and whether she was becoming a liability for the studio. Disney was clearly trying to do damage control. They apparently brought in a social media expert to help Rachel with her online presence. But by then, the storm had already hit. She had already insulted fans, criticized the movie she was promoting, and gotten into weird online drama. Reports even say that a major producer flew out to meet her in person and talk about the chaos she was causing. That's never a good sign. And when someone like Steven Spielberg is allegedly raising an eyebrow at your behavior, you know things are not going well. Rachel eventually posted an apology, but it felt forced and scripted, and fans didn't really buy it. The apology came too late, and by then, people had already made up their minds. The fallout was quick. Suddenly, roles that she was reportedly being considered for started disappearing. She was rumored to be part of Toy Story 5, but that got scrapped. A possible role in Pirates of the Caribbean? Gone. A horror trilogy with Blumhouse? Also off the table. It was like the industry collectively decided to back away, not wanting to take a risk on someone who seemed to attract controversy more than ticket sales. After all of this, Rachel still tried to find a silver lining. She said Snow White was a life-changing experience and emotional for her, and maybe that's true. But from the outside, it looked like she had gone from Hollywood's rising star to one of its most talked-about cautionary tales. The empty theaters, the online drama, the box office crash, it all added up to one massive mess that Disney probably wishes they could undo. What was supposed to be a bold, modern reimagining of a classic turned into a disaster filled with memes, backlash, and regret. Because it wasn't just the movie that flopped, it was everything around it. The press, the public image, the handling of fan reactions, and most of all, the tone-deaf approach to promoting the film. Rachel Zegler didn't just have a rough press tour. She basically set her own PR fire and tried to dance in the flames. And now, she's left with a reputation that's going to take a lot of work to rebuild, if Hollywood even gives her the chance. Because right now, She's more known for Snow White's fall than for any of her previous successes. And in a town like Hollywood, where reputation is everything, that might be the hardest part of all.